Thank you to former Minister of International Trade, Ed Fast, for your hard work in Abbotsford. Thank you for Mark Dalton, who is speaking up on behalf of the working class people in his community, a strong voice on Parliament Hill. Thank you to my Shadow Minister of Finance, Jazraj, who is fighting for low taxes, balanced budget, and powerful paychecks. Thank you to Tracy Gray, a former small businesswoman and our Shadow Minister of Employment. She is from the Okanagan riding of Kelowna Lake Country, and Frank Caputo from Kamloops, who's our Shadow Associate Justice Minister, who is helping us fight for jail and not bail for repeat violent offenders. This is our Common Sense Conservative team, and boy, do we ever need common sense now. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, everything costs more, work doesn't pay, housing costs have doubled, crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder is raging in our streets. Our country has never been in worse shape than it is after 8 years of Trudeau. 2 million people forced to a food bank every single month in Canada. This is a record-smashing number. The cost of housing has more than doubled under Justin Trudeau. The work no longer pays as his taxes chew up your paycheck. You make it, Trudeau takes it. And he's done nothing to allow our immigrants to get licensed in their professions and work in their fields, all while we're short of doctors. He's passed a catch and release, which allows the most serious repeat violent offenders to get out of jail within minutes of being arrested so that they can redo the same crimes multiple times in the same day. He is decriminalizing crack and heroin, which is driving up more addiction and overdoses while giving out taxpayer-funded drugs. He's turned some parts of Canada into war zones. He's forced immigrants and international students to live under bridges or to crowd 16 or 17 into a single basement suite because of his total incompetence in the immigration file. And Jagmeet Singh has betrayed British Columbia. After coming here and claiming he'd represent this area, he sold out the people to sign on to a costly coalition with Justin Trudeau. The good news is life was not like this before Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. Because there will be a carbon tax election, and people will vote, and they'll decide. Do they want a costly coalition of Justin Trudeau and the NDP that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and chaos in your community? Or do you want common sense conservatives who will free you to earn powerful paychecks that buy affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods? That is the choice. And we're going to bring home common sense to fulfill that choice. We're going to bring home lower prices by axing the carbon tax on gas, heat, and groceries, by capping spending and cutting waste to balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. We'll bring home powerful paychecks with lower income taxes that reward hard work by bringing in a Blue Seal national testing standard to allow our brilliant immigrant doctors and nurses to take a test, prove they're qualified, and get to work in their field. We have, for example, 32,000 immigrant nurses that can't work. Many of them are Filipino. According to the Filipino ambassador, 85% of Filipino nurses cannot work in Canada. In the States, they can take an international exam and get to work in 2 weeks. Here, they are stuck working in minimum wage jobs, all while we have a nursing shortage. Common sense conservatives will bring a Blue Seal and get the provinces to sign on to it the way that we did with the Red Seal for trade 70 years ago. Then that will help solve that problem and bring powerful paychecks. We're going to clear the bureaucracy to build homes. I'm going to require cities permit 15% more home building per year, or they will lose federal money. Those that beat the target will get building bonuses. So we'll create a financial incentives for the local bureaucracies to speed up, lower the cost of building permits, free up land so we can build. We'll require every federally funded transit station be permitted for sky rises so that people can live right next to the bus or train. We're going to sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build. And we'll require CMHC approved financing for apartments in 2 months, not 2 years. The executives will be fired if they don't meet this target. And those homes will be in safe neighborhoods by bringing in jail and not bail. Repeat violent offenders will stay in prison. They will not be eligible for bail or parole. And we will also ban hard drugs, stop giving out opioids, and instead provide recovery and treatment services so we can bring our loved ones home drug-free. Finally, we'll stop harassing law-abiding hunters and sport shooters, spending $2 billion to take hunting rifles away from people who've already been vetted by the police and have a legitimate license is a total waste of money. Instead, we're going to put that money into bolstering our borders to keep illegal drugs and guns out of Canada. This is our common sense plan. Axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, bring it home. Well, it's justified to cap and control the numbers, but will this solve the crisis? No. There's a massive crisis in the immigration and international student program that Justin Trudeau created. Let's not blame the students. Let's blame the incompetent leader who caused the problem. He's the one that gave out study permits for people to come to colleges that didn't exist or don't offer real education. He's the one that failed to ensure there was housing for international students. He's the one that massively increased the numbers with no way of ensuring that people would have a place to live or whether they would actually get real education. He unleashed this chaos in our system. It is Justin Trudeau and Justin Trudeau alone that caused this chaos. He's the federal Prime Minister responsible for the federal study permits and visas. So let's not blame the students. Let's blame the incompetent politician who caused the crisis. Common sense conservatives will end the fraud, shut down fake colleges. We will crack down on shady consultants. We will make sure that all international students who get visas to come to Canada must have housing and an income in order to pay their bills so that they are not trapped in human trafficking gangs or crowded under bridges or 16 people to an apartment. That's how the system worked before Justin Trudeau, and it's how we can make it work again when my common sense government forms office. After 8 years of Trudeau, nobody feels secure. He has unleashed crime and chaos, drugs and disorder in our community. We've never had these problems before Trudeau. Of course, every country has crime. We didn't have mass extortions. People in at least 4 major cities, in Brampton, Calgary, Edmonton, and Surrey region, getting in extortion letters that are followed up with shootings of their homes being shot up. How is it that the federal government and the RCMP allowed an international crime network to infiltrate our country and carry out mass extortions in at least 4 cities and 3 provinces? How did that happen? Who's the head of the government? Who's in charge? Justin Trudeau. First of all, he's totally incompetent in law enforcement. And second of all, he's sent the signal to the world that if you want to do crime, Canada's the place to do it. Because you won't be prosecuted, you won't be arrested, and even if you do get arrested, there'll be no consequences because our system is so weak after 8 years of Trudeau. Common sense conservatives will break up international crime syndicates. We will strengthen the RCMP's ability to prosecute organized crime. We will bring in serious sentences for those who orchestrate and those who carry out the extortionary threats. And we will put the monsters that are threatening our communities in jail and leave them there with jail and not bail. This is a common sense conservative approach to bring home the safety and security that people used to take for granted before Justin Trudeau. All of my foreign policy will be driven by one thing: what's good for Canada. We're going to start to put our own country first for a change. This idea that we've had after 8 years of Trudeau, that he kowtows to foreign governments, to multinational bureaucracies, trying to get himself seats on different UN commissions, sucking up to the Americans and letting them walk all over us. That is over. We're standing up for our country. When it comes to India or any other country, India is a big, powerful democracy, the second biggest, most populous country on planet Earth. We have to do business with them, but our only guidepost will be this: what is good for Canada? I want more trade and jobs for our people. I want security for our people. We will never tolerate foreign interference by any country in our affairs, and we will ensure that our country is strong enough on the world stage to do that. My priorities with India will include selling our natural gas so that we can shut down Asian coal fire plants and replace it with clean Canadian gas that's liquefied here in British Columbia. And we want to get a direct flight from Vancouver to Amritsar so that we can shorten travel times for the largest diaspora Punjabi community in the world. Singapore, Malaysia, UK, US, Uzbekistan, Italy, all have direct flights to Amritsar. Why not Canada? Trudeau signed an open skies agreement with no direct flight to Amritsar. Total incompetence. He took our Punjabi community for granted, ignored them, didn't care about the inconvenience and cost this causes, particularly seniors trying to go and visit family or their businesses back in Punjab. We're going to fix that with fighting for a direct flight to Amritsar. First, we need a foreign influence registry. So anyone who works for a foreign dictatorship should be exposed. Anyone who works for a foreign government to manipulate our politics should be exposed on a public website that is available for all eyes to see. This is strictly for those who do work on behalf of foreign governments to manipulate our politics. This is necessary to protect our diaspora communities against interference. We need to stand up for our values and our rights with respect to all foreign governments, and we want the foreign influence inquiry that the Prime Minister has belatedly called to actually do its job, not do another cover-up or another whitewash like we saw under the previous commissions that Trudeau has caused. So we're going to be watching it carefully and ensuring that the Prime Minister's personal bureaucracy, the Privy Council office, not interfere with how this commission does its job, because we need the truth. We need to protect our people from foreign influence by any government around the world. We support a two-state solution. We believe that Israel has the right to defend itself and to remain as a Jewish state in the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people, and that can happen in harmony with a future Palestinian state where people choose their own government, live their own lives, and we believe that actually the Palestinian people can be deeply prosperous. There are natural gas reserves. They have access to the Mediterranean Sea, which is an enormously important shipping route. We look at the incredible prosperity that the Gulf states have achieved over the last 65 years. Why can't the Palestinian people have that same prosperity? And that is what we will propose, and what we will offer as our position. As for refugee claims, we think they should be processed on their own merits, and I don't want to make any commitments about specific numbers from specific countries. Rather, each asylum claim should be judged on its own merit. First of all, we condemn the murder of Mr. Manager, and we call on the police to arrest those who carried out that murder. And we're increasingly concerned about how long it has taken. They still have not arrested anyone. There's been no consequences for the people who pulled the trigger. While the police are supposed to be independent from the Prime Minister's office, he has intelligence on this that he can share with the police. There's nothing to stop him from telling the police who did this, so that the perpetrators can be arrested and jailed, and they should never come out of jail. By creating a more powerful paychecks and more wealthy community that can afford community centers like this. We have right now, nobody can afford to contribute to building a community center or creating that kind of infrastructure, because everyone's being hammered by inflation, high interest rates, food costs, carbon tax, doubling housing prices. That has made it impossible for communities of all backgrounds to support themselves and each other. So we're going to reverse that by axing the tax, cutting income tax to reward hard work. We're going to bring in a Blue Seal system so that our Filipino nurses can take a test and get to work in hospitals, earning six-figure salaries, serving patients and reducing our healthcare backlogs. This will create more prosperous, hardworking people who can afford everything that the community dreams of having. That's our common sense approach. And now let's bring it home. We need to get back to common sense. Let's bring home the country that we know and love, that attracted all of us to come here in the first place. Let us bring home that country. Let's axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, bring it home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Good job.